Hello, Internet. Welcome back to another edition of Eric's Corner with the Word of the Not So Wise. It's been a while since I've made an episode, and this one I'm particularly excited about. I know I say that about a few of them, but I actually submitted an invention patent through InventHelp to get an invention patent, and it's far enough along in the process where they told me I could go ahead and make a video about it and say, hey, patent pending. Of course, it's going to come with a backstory because everything I talk about does. Back in World War II, they had to build these dam busters. So the Germans built dams to hold water and provide cooling for their tank plants. And the Americans and they found out about this and said, well, we got to get rid of these dams. So they talked about building what they called the skip bomb. And they basically were going to bounce across the top of the water, get close to the dam, sink, and blow up and bust the dam. Because when you have an explosion underwater, it holds the it holds the explosion tighter to the object you're trying to destroy. And so they got completely off topic and they started talking about how a golf ball worked. Well, there's a reason there's dimples in a golf ball. It's to make them more aerodynamic. And they would hit these golf balls with a robot, and they showed you what a slick golf ball did versus a dimpled golf ball, and it went like twice as far. It creates lift, and it is a drag-free surface. So I think I was around 17 at the time, and I was like, well, why don't we build something to go on the skin of cars like this? And the thought was always in the back of my mind for a lot of years. And Mythbusters did an episode about it where somebody wrote them and asked if a dirty car got better aerodynamics, and of course it didn't because it's a rough surface. And the Mythbusters, being extremely sharp as they are, said, well, I think they're thinking about a dimpled surface versus a rough surface. So they did an episode on it, and sure enough, the car got like 20% better fuel economy. And I was like, okay, well, my dream is dead. I'm not going to invent this thing because, somebody's going to pick up and run with this thing. And years later, it never happened. And before I joined the Navy, I had a lot of free time on my hands. I bought rolls of magnets like you see on the side of cars that people put their decals on. I have magnets on the side of my truck with my company logos. And I was like, well, I'll just take a drill bit and I'll drill holes in it and dimple it. So I cut them out to match my Silverado. I think I mentioned before, I owned this thing for like 10 years. I bought it almost brand new, and that was a sweet truck, all fully loaded and everything. So put the magnets on, traced around the fender wells, cut it out and everything, took them off. Obviously, I didn't drill dimples while I was on the truck, or you destroy the paint. And I started doing that, and I was like, oh, this is going to take way too long. And I didn't submit it through InventHelp like I was thinking about doing. And I was a little short on cash. And of course, I wish I would have, because this thing would have been, 10 years sooner. So nothing ever came of it. I never saw any company do anything with it or anything. I was like, well, you know what? Let's give it a shot. So I submitted it. They checked to see if anybody had a patent on it, and there was nothing like it. And I know what you're thinking. Having a dimpled side of your car is going to look weird and not great. And okay, well, function over looks, and I don't think it's going to look too terrible. And the material I'm hoping to use, you can do it in clear, or of course color match, or you can have logos printed on it, and so on and so forth. They don't necessarily have to be magnets, but basically a wrap. We've all seen wraps, right? So I hope we do something like that, and I'm hoping they can be installed for less than $1,000 is what I'm hoping, because the increased fuel mileage will definitely pay for itself pretty quick. And it's not even about the fuel mileage. The reduced wear and tear on your drivetrain would be very helpful. Well, more helpful. It'll make your oil changes last longer. Now, I'm not saying change your oil less often. Still change it at the recommended interval. But you're cruising down the road, you're turning 2400 RPMs, let's say. I mean, if you can drop that a couple hundred RPMs over 10 years, you're talking about millions of less times your piston is going up and down the cylinder, and that will greatly reduce wear and tear and hopefully make vehicles last longer. I mean, yes, you get the instant gratification of, oh, well, I'm getting another 2, 3, 4 miles to the gallon, hopefully. And over the course of however many years you own your vehicle, it really cut down on wear and tear, the load on your transmission, etc. I mean, if you take a half-ton truck that are designed to tow 10,000 pounds. I mean, you put a 10,000 pound load behind a half-ton truck all the time, you're going to destroy it. Well, I mean, what if you just decrease the equivalent of, say, 800 pounds of less wind resistance on your truck? It's just gonna hold up a lot better. So I submitted a request for the patent and all that good stuff, and it looks like it's coming along real nice. Like I said, they said I could go ahead and make a video as patent pending. I'm gonna put a GoFundMe in the comments, as well as a contact for the company, and as well as the Mythbusters episode on it, so you can see how it works. This is the brochure that they sent me and threw out, and I took and modified it. And this can be applied to a lot of things. Like I would say the fuselage of an airplane, but I don't know about the wind resistance up at 30,000 feet. It's probably a lot lower and may not be as effective. Of course, you probably can't put it across the wings because they're designed to work how they do. I mean, I don't know, but I feel like there's a lot of applications. Even putting them on a semi-tractor. Okay, granted, big fan of Edison Motors. I've talked about them. I've contacted whoever on Facebook. They've been really cool answering my questions and all that good stuff. Chase even put out a video like, oh, well, what's with the lack of aerodynamics? And he's like, well, what's the drag coefficient of a D9 dozer? Okay, yes, granted. Or like a log truck. Okay, it's terrible. But most of them are hauling vans, a regular box, regular semi-trailer. You could dimple the whole side of those, and I mean, who gives a crap what they look like? If you reduce the fuel consumption by 2%, man, we're really saving money. And again, reducing the load you're putting on a semi-trailer by quite a lot, reducing maintenance costs and hopefully make them hold up longer, and reducing the cost of groceries and everything. I mean, this is a very green, not that I give a shit about green things, because most of them are a scam, but this is an actual green, long-term thing that will really help. So my brochure says he improves aerodynamics for vehicles, helps minimize wind resistance, the initial couple things, saves fuel, of course, reduces emissions, right? Burning less fuel, lower emissions, easy to put on because you hire a place to throw it on like a wrap, or if you get the magnets or whatever. And I mean, I happen to be wearing an Iron Man shirt. I mean, you could have it be Iron Man or the Hulk or your favorite cartoons or whatever, and it will hopefully kind of help offset that wrinkly, dimpled look. Which I mean, to me, takes a big back seat to again, function over aesthetics. Let's see, slender and flexible design, ideal for vehicles owners, truckers. Shape magnetically applied, or of course, a little thicker wrap or whatever. Put it on your rooftop and all that good stuff over the roof. Probably not over the tailgate, which you'd probably do anyway just to match, because you're not really getting wind resistance from there. And it's going to save your paint. It's going to save from rock chips and sun damage, so it'll make the clear coat and all that hold up. We all see cars with the clear coat chipping off. Let's see, and you get it painted to match, so the seams will just blend in with what you the existing color of your truck, and the paint codes for your Chevys, your Dodges, your Fords, the blues or whatever. I mean, that's public information. So when you get into an accident, the shop that fixes your rig can match it. So it multitude of small and closely spread dimples and blah blah blah. Aerodynamic edge and so on and so forth. And basically, you'd sell it at AutoZone or any North. Let's see. I mean, any Rock Auto or any of the major part distributors could distribute it. So yeah, it'd be great to raise a little money to help pay for it. I figure if it sells and I make some kind of money off it, I mean, I'm not expecting, tens of millions, but if I get, some kind of good stash of cash from it, if you want to donate, I will take and double that and donate it to, say, John Hopkins Hospital for Kids, just as a thought. But if it actually takes off and does well, then, maybe I'll put out a video and see where you want the donations to go or whatever. That'd be absolutely spectacular. If not, that's no big deal. But yeah, I think I hit all the key points. I think it'd be, a really good invention. And, I mean, my truck, I get about 16 miles of the gallon driving back and forth from here in Anchor Point to Homer. Well, a little less than that. I mean, I would boost that to 20 and 20 miles to the gallon. I mean, absolutely fantastic. And you even put it on your little economy car. I mean, your little economy car that gets, already gets, 28 miles to the gallon. Well, bump it up to 30, 32, and it'll pay for itself in just a few years. And I mean, the smaller the vehicle, the less effective it's going to be, which would make sense. I mean, less surface area, it's less drag anyway. But you put these things on your big F-350s and your big pickups, it's going to reduce your drag coefficient even more. So yeah, that's all I got. Gonna pump out some more videos. I hope you like it. Let me know what you think. I mean, by all means, drop something in the comments if you think this is just stupid. I mean, throw me some objections. I do pay attention to feedback. And yeah, thanks a lot for watching. Have a good night.